Just give us your names.
True story.
By the way,
Good
idea. We're literally like two random dudes you guys invited into your house, and you expect people to know. Like, we were just walking outside. You guys said, "Come to a show."
Hang on. Fuck, we need a guest. What are you guys talk about?
They picked us up at the builder's warehouse. We're come help set this thing up.
Shit.
I'm Duke.
Yeah, I'm Eddie Jones, guys. Nice to be on the show.
Nice to be on the show. And guys, we really do appreciate it. So we've actually brought some gifts.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, this is exciting.
The proper sponsorship.
Hey,
You got Josh in your hat.
Boy, thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
There you go.
They hand us a receipt under the table. This is the
We'll invoice you later.
So invoicing Hoopla. Invoicing.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Josh's one's looking tired.
We'll rep it. Yeah, I've worn this one for like a week now. I have to throw it
Yeah. Laugh at the rich and the famous.
For your next guest.
I love it.
We'll linger on for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So sorry, what was your question?
What do you guys do? Give us a bit about yourselves.
Well, I'll talk about the history of how I met Duke. I've been here in Umhlanga, South Africa, my whole life. This man's toured the world. And 2017, he took a trip down from Pennsylvania in the States.
No, I'd already been out for a while. I'd been out of the US for about a year, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all of 2016, I was...
That's right, you went back down.
Yeah, I was actually spending time in Cameroon.
That's true.
Where my mom was,
Yo.
He's everywhere, man.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So long story short, I was playing rugby at the time, and he came through and he went straight into the Sharks setup in KZN. And at first glance, I was like, "Who's this guy?" He came in like well spoken, like about 5-10 kgs heavier, to believe it or not. And I just we were playing rugby together, and just decided one day he asked me for a trip down to practice, and from there we just started hitting off with conversations about where we were from. I mean, he'll tell you a little bit of background, but he's had experience in Eastern Asia, in the States, Cameroon, Eastern Cape.
Yeah,
nice.
The Great Dell College.
Nice in Durban. But long story short, we had similarities in industry at the time. We in the marketing media side of things. So he's part of a big agency, 13th Floor, here in Durban, and that's you'll explain more details about that. We had similarities obviously, and the vision was what really connected us. I think when we had a conversation about what we wanted to see in our futures, almost like it was a match made in heaven, because since then we've evolved from business to going in more direction of what are we passionate about, and that's why we're excited to speak about our brand that we've eventually launched our first product, but it's been years in the making of speaking about something and talking it into fruition. So I mean that's the story about me and Duke.
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on, Jones. And I think, you touched on it. It was really the things that we wanted to accomplish, right? And not more in the immediate future, but further along down the road. And it wasn't a difficult conversation to get into because of how quickly we clicked. I think so. It was more, met this dude, gave me a couple rides to practice, and then that was that. We wanted to find out, okay, what can we really do in Umhlanga? If I was really just starting to settle in, he'd been here his whole life, and it was, it's not wasting any time, bro. Let's see what we can cook here. Let's see what we can produce. Let's see what we can think up. What more levels there are to explore from a friendship standpoint, and then business standpoint, and then a passion standpoint.
So you're playing rugby at the academy then. Was that your intention to be your future at that point in time before you started this all off? Were you intending to play rugby as your career and then fall into this?
Absolutely. I don't think you put yourself through those pre-seasons for giggles. But it was, for most of my life, I knew that I wanted to play sports, I think that was really just the case because of how, I think it came quite natural as most athletes, right? You just realize, I'm better at this than...
I'm bigger than everyone. I'm
I don't have to... This is a little bit more effortless than everything else that I do, so this must be the direction. You actually realize what you're being set up for, right? If the interest might be sport, but there's actually interest within that. You know, for example, the business side of sport, the marketing side of sport. It's the stuff that you love, but it's more intricate and more nuanced than just the game itself. Yeah.
I think all the biggest sportsmen are essentially brands before they're even sportsmen. Like we were looking at Ronaldo's Instagram followers. What is it sitting at?
Yeah, 370 million.
Yeah, some ridiculous 400 million odd followers on Instagram, and yeah, that's a business. He's not even a player anymore. He's just a business.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
happens to play soccer.
He's a brand, and when you sign him to your team, it's a brand alignment. You know, it's a collaboration. You know, he's bringing his entire follower base and fan base to your organization. So you will afford him some liberties at the club, especially when he's delivering. By the way, you know, it makes it a little bit easier to deal with when he's putting on the field as well.
I think that's an interesting part. Sportsmen know how to get attention. Essentially, I mean, they are gifted at being on camera and stuff, but business is also about getting attention. So if you can merge those two ideas, it tends to play off one another. And a lot of the top sportsmen do become top businessmen after their careers. So it is interesting that you guys were in that sphere and you hadn't quite broken through to the top and you went the business route anyways. Like you saw the opportunities sort of surfacing and the interest.
Spot on, Jez, yeah. I mean, I was at the time 25, I think. Yeah, and
I was 27.
27, yeah. I mean, if you look at rugby in an athlete's perspective, I mean, you really only have a limited amount of years. And I mean, I was working so hard to get to that peak stage of my performance. And I think there was a little bit of realization was I had to decide, you know, like, was this the goal? And I didn't want to leave the city, didn't want to leave the country. I had all the personal visions to grow with the city. And it looked like the only opportunity felt outside of the city, going to another country or another continent to play rugby. And just timing was everything with Duke, and we decided, look, bro, why not put our focus into what we're good at, you know, using our marketing skills and branding skills and things that we were passionate about, I guess.
Yeah,
you know?
and figure it out and learn at the different stops that we had along the way. You know what I mean? The journey wasn't, in terms of like the path that we went, wasn't always parallel. It went like this. Sorry if it's audio audience, but you can't see my hands.
No, you can.
It went all types of directions, but it was and still is, like, even this stop right here. It's just a space to learn,
sure,
and get more and more experienced with the type of things we want to do. So, I mean, I think it was just a matter of understanding that we were all just going to learn and continue to grow. But we knew that there's only one goal line, there's only one vision. So
you
however
never
we
had
get
any
there,
prior history in business up until when you...
up until the ventures?
Yeah.
Well, I was always interested.
Were you dabbling in different industries?
No, not at all. So, I mean, besides going to study business at school, it was more, I knew I wanted to be in the business space, create.
But never knew which direction yet.
No, there wasn't one particular thing that I wanted to do exactly.
That was the same with me.
Okay, well, this is a great story, because I can guarantee you there's plenty of people that are going to be listening that are in that current position.
And age doesn't, like, you got to realize, age doesn't mean anything. It's experience. Like, unless you have that right little, like, trigger, like, you don't have to just expect. Like, I remember coming out of school and every one of my mates knew, I'm going to go study this. I'm going to go study this.
Yeah.
And, like, only 2 out of, like, 20 of them actually are still doing what they did and are loving it, you know? The rest are, like, doing stuff that they're not too sure about. But at that time, being 18, I thought, fuck, I'm the odd one out and I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. They didn't know what they're doing. They just thought they knew that this was the right thing to 100%, do. 100%. And, like, you got to realize that's not what they're going to be doing for the rest of their life. Even people at 25 now who I used to look at me like, fuck, they got their shit together. And they don't know what they really love. And sometimes they even see you doing what you're now doing and they're like, how did you get to this? Sure. And you're like, you had your shit together when you were young, and now you realize life is a lot more complicated than that. Yeah. It shoves you in these little, like, paths, and you got to realize, just try everything, do everything. And one day, it might be when you're 30, it might be when you're 40, but, like, you're going to find it if you just keep trying everything. Don't say no. Don't say no to any opportunity, you know?
So I'll say this. There's no, in my humble estimation, no particular right way. And that's what makes it great, right? There's literally everyone's on their own path.
There's no blueprint.
There's no blueprint. Well, there is. We've been given one. We have been given one. A pretty good one too.
Holy Bible.
Go to school. Go to school. That one too. An important one is go to school, get educated, and then go try and make something happen.
Yeah.
Now within that rough guideline, there's multiple ways to go out and actually get to the destination you want to get to.
So how did you go from marketing, like a marketing agency?
Yeah.
So
Still
that
there,
obviously
still there, the 14th
that's
floor,
that stirs some ideas, but that's obviously other people's ideas. Sure. Like I think about it a lot, but you obviously get triggered a bit, and you're like, "This is exciting. I should this is something I can implement with my own business." You know? But some people are happy, like. I see it all the time. Some people are just happy making those ideas work for other people and they get a kick from it. But like people like us, you see them get a kick and you're like, I can do it even better. I just need my own brand.
This is where my man Duke's a little bit different because he launches the campaign and then he gets involved in it. So he's double.
So he's in it.
You've seen him on Nivea.
I get put into nice positions.
He does well. So.
I get set up well. How about that? You know what I mean? There's people setting me up, right? Like I have to,
genetics get you far.
I'm lucky everywhere I go. There's like someone who's just willing to back.
Take my money.
Okay, so let's talk about. I'm feeling some coffee. So let's talk about this.
Yes.
I want to know about this.
Jonesy, please, bro. Jones is going to tell us about this, guys. This was such a cool project to work on. So, Jones, quick, another circle background here. Really great project to work on. It was the brainchild of like a lot of different ideas, but what was the way that we thought we could reach people best, right? And man, it's hard to reach people. It's hard to get an idea out and get an understanding for what you're trying to do. So who doesn't like coffee? Who doesn't like coffee?
No, I agree. I'm a coffee addict. When I tell you I drink 9 cups of cups of coffee a day, I probably don't have a long life expectancy. But my days are filled with greatness of coffee.
It's red line.
So it becomes such a easy way to talk to people essentially and communicate some of the ideals.
Very true. It's the first thing when you want to meet someone, you want to go for a coffee.
Yeah.
It's the first thing.
It's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
So really great ingredients. Jones is going to run us through because I know about them.
Yeah.
I do, but we've been practicing for years.
We're practitioners of this.
Yeah, we're practitioners, but you want to get intricate knowledge. Jones can talk to us.
Hit us.
But so I said, Jones, we agreed. We sat down. Jones, let's do a coffee bar. And then the Limitless. Why the Limitless?
I think it's important to drink it first.
Yeah.
Get a little cup there.
Well, this is the deciding factor.
Why the Limitless?
You can talk your talk, but can you make coffee?
That's right.
This is where we drop our invoice under the table and get it back. Like, how much do you want us to say about this?
We've been talking about this for a couple of years, a couple months.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You guys gonna have one with us?
Poor old Jay's got absolutely fuck all.
It was great.
Enjoy that.
I'm gonna grab one there. Definitely grab myself there. I need to pick me up.
Yeah.
It's
How's his inexperience? You need to smell it first. Get that aroma. Get it in.
Just on the right
Do you want a spit cup as well? You're doing a full wine tasting.
No, it's fine. I'll just spit by a mark.
It's just the guy that
in the pot plant back there.
in between coffees he has Milo. He acts like he's this connoisseur. He's fucking drinking Milo and coffee half the time.
Just talk to me there. I know you love your coffee. How the smell there?
No, it's smelling really good.
I love it.
It's getting my jingles tingling. That is actually very good.
You guys.
It's better than Rick coffee, I'll tell you that for free.
Don't bring the name up here.
Sure. That is good.
That is some
Judge,
very
Genuinely,
tasty.
we're
Well
not
done,
paid for
gents.
this.
Well done.
Yeah.
Man, we've been playing around this idea for some time. We almost stumbled on this. I think it was a word. It was like nootropics.
Yeah. That's right.
So basically, nootropic meaning long word neurotropic factor, right, which is our ability to build new neurons, right, plasticity in our brain, and that whole notion was quite enticing for me. But dialing right back, I mean, when, like I said, I knew this guy from 2017. At the time, the word fasting was what is fasting? I mean, is that a thing you do for religion? You know, people stop eating meat, like Lent fasting. Didn't know enough about it, you know. And then Duke told me, well, at the start of every year, I give myself, you know, this time to fast and really, like, obviously it was something that he spoke to me personally about, didn't tell many people about. So,
I mean, we were staying together, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
I didn't don't
Why the fuck you not eating?
I'm okay. I mean, don't make any crazy meals.
But I was the guy. I was like,
continue.
Get the aromas going.
like, where's Duke gone for the last 7 days? I'm like, well, I don't know. You know? But I mean, quite literally, I watched this man go through 7 days of no eating, just water, lemon, salt, cleansing his body, and really, the craziest thing was he was, I mean, the first 3 days he was in isolation. Complete solitude. You know, you really had to dig within, and then on the fourth day he came, you know, started getting back to work, and like, you know, we were training at the gym again. I'm like, are you sure you're still not eating, bro? Like, are you not sneaking in some cake in the room there, bro? I have to go check his cupboard, you know? But he went through a full 7 day fast, and I was just blown away, because not only did I see him mentally and physically come out more energized, I started witnessing like changes in his body and his physique over those next couple of days. It's like he cleansed over the December holidays, you know, came back and he was like almost, you know, energetic and ready. So I was like, man, you need to tell me more about this. You know, he explained it and he gave me some research, and
It's so good for you.
Yeah.
We have family friends who do like 3 days a week. So they go from Sunday till Tuesday evening.
Let's go.
Yeah,
that's the
they
goal.
do it, and like they are.
Man, I mean, if you want to reduce consumption, I mean, it's one of the most powerful ways too.
Yeah.
You know, so
Closer to payday, I think we're all going to
I've done this before. I can do this again. So yeah, man. I mean, like I said, then the whole fasting notion and idea became almost where like this rabbit hole that I just went headfirst down for months. Yeah. And this guy would come home and he'd be like, "What you researching now, bro?" Like, and I was like,
was in the books.
Yeah.
He was in the books. He was on YouTube. He was on like literally just research.
So I mean, coffee is a great area for some people with fasting. I know you wanna, and fasting is a very broad term. What are you fasting from? A lot of people are like, well, in my mind, fasting is letting go of certain external sources from putting into your body. People dry fast, which means you don't even drink water or shower. Yeah. So for me, the whole idea of fasting was to just limit your digestion, right? Your body's ability to keep breaking down food.
Clean it out.
Clean it out. Stop spiking insulin so often and getting your blood sugar levels up. It's about really like trying to use what's internal. I mean, that's why intermittent fasting has grown so much now, because people are seeing crazy results, and it's an attainable lifestyle. It's almost like you want to keep doing it, but a lot of people are like, well, that person does that fasting doesn't work. So at the moment, I don't want to say this fasting works. That artist, for me, black coffee became prevalent because I was like, I enjoy black coffee.
I love it too.
Now I'm able to, I'm trying to supplement black coffee with certain powders and ingredients that don't spark my insulin or don't kick me out of a fasted state, in essence. And I'm still getting the benefits of the mental alertness from the coffee. So like this morning, I'd go and I'd operate in the morning. I'd have black coffee and some water, maybe sparkling water, and I'd put in certain herbs, certain amino acids, like, you know, L-theanine, great one. But that's where
we found the nootropics.
That's where we started looking across nootropics. Our friend came down from the States and he was like, do your research, just look into this, you know. And they were in Silicon Valley using these things called smart drugs, which has evolved. I mean, from pharmaceuticals, now it's more holistic. So it's the idea that a smart drug is anything that stimulates the neurons to start firing and wiring. And what's
How long ago did you guys start researching this?
2.5.
Yeah.
2018.
Yeah, 2018. Yeah, I'd say so. And I've been practicing fasting since before then. So I knew it did something.
A lot's changed.
I
mean,
a whole
But
bunch of
nootropics
research.
was like a big little spark. We nearly went into that, and then we were like,
I mean, but
like
I said,
we ailments based, and like we have tried to do like we had products for acne and like more outside of severe ailments, and we just thought like focus on that. Like this is your focus. Don't spread too thin. Don't spread yourself too thin. But nootropics is a great topic, and like right now it's still early stages. Like
it is
so much room for growth.
I just got to say, I don't drink black coffee ever. I have it with milk.
Okay.
Really?
This is fantastic.
Let's go.
Normally, I will never ever drink black coffee.
That's what we wanted.
This is fantastic.
That's what we wanted.
Genuinely.
And by the way, quite metaphorically, we started speaking about coffee. Now we're telling people about Nootropics.
Yeah.
And that's what the coffee essentially is, right? It's a product where we can sort of start to share these little ideas that aren't too much in the air, that conversations aren't really had about, and then using the most sneakiest of Trojan horses, which is
I love
the coffee.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys spoke about Nature's Relief on one of your last podcasts, and they are hand in hand working with us, partnered up, and they're bringing in the product. So we spent some time going through like which
and
one
Dev really goes deep with this research.
If you bring on Dev to talk about mushrooms, you got
we
have to make a 7-part series here.
I love it.
I'll come here just to watch that one.
No, he's so not like, I didn't know it. I thought it was just like a shop and he opened that. But like hearing him talk and he's like, no, we're getting like UKZN to like start researching this, and I'm like,
that man is on it. He's on it.
Yeah, he's on it. Finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, that's to wrap that conversation of how we stumbled, or how we carefully got to this final ingredients, which we've put a blend of mushroom powders. So not the psychedelic what you hear.
You're not going to chop your balls off.
It's more the
They only sold that one to me.
Fumbles on the controller.
It's
in the garden.
Oh God.
That's safe, man. It's something you can pick up in a discam or on the clicks or any pharmacy that's or a health store. Like I said, it's the lion's mane. So lion's mane quite literally looks like a white beard in a mushroom. It's very. Some people say it tastes like crayfish if you cook it up. It's got that kind of texture.
That's pretty
cool. But when we've ground it down and put it into a powdered form, or soluble, which you can get the liquid soluble at Nature's Relief.
Good folks.
We
Shout
put
out to Nature's Relief.
We fuse that with chaga and cordyceps. So these are very well-known mushrooms that have been used for thousands of years in Chinese medicine. As you know, like chaga, reishi, shiitake. There's all these different mushroom blends, and they all form part of the fungi family. And the fungi family is basically, I mean, the research is trying to come out now how it's having such benefits on mental health.
Yeah, neuro pathways.
But yeah, I mean, like I say, it's an introduction to people. It's not we're not here to say this is the best coffee. It's an introduction to say find out about these ingredients. Go look what lion's mane is. Go see what it can do for you. And I mean, it's me speaking honestly and vulnerably. I've suffered in essence as a child with ADD. So I was taking Ritalin from the age of 8 all the way through to matric, which is 10 years. So you now become reliant on something for focus, something for to keep conscious and present almost, and dialed into whatever activity you're doing. So when you take it off, it's like, well, I can't find that balance now. It's like my mind is everywhere. So it's like this for me, and fasting and practicing the notion of not having sugar in the morning, just the idea of sugar to take you out of your head and into your stomach almost. You want to be like focused throughout the day.
Yeah.
You want to be
as long as possible.
As long as possible. And it's not to say like to go 7 days. Like it's just to say like maybe see how much you can go in the morning. Right? You want to be energetic. You want to be out there training, exercising. You want to find products and all supplements that can assist that, but in essence maybe uplift it, and enhance it. So that's for us is why we put like cordyceps and chaga, and the cordyceps is powerful for anyone that understands the whole molecular science of ATP, right? Which I'll tell it quickly. ATP is, I believe it's adenosine triphosphate, which is like a molecule that we release. It's like an energy molecule. People take creatine for that because it gives them more ATP energy to output. So it's not relying on glucose energy. Glucose energy is what our brain works readily available on. So if that's not present in your body and you're fasting, you now need to find energy source from elsewhere. And that's why the sun's so powerful, because it powers up your molecular energy, those mitochondria in the cell to release more, like I say, ATP energy. And then these just inhibit those neurotransmitters like cordyceps inhibits that to, I don't know the word inhibit, but to release more of that.
Stimulate
that. So that's cool. That's why we put cordyceps. And then the last one, chaga, is, it's coffee is a very gray area for some people because they're like, well, is it healthy on your gut? Because this caffeine, it might be, I won't go too much in depth about, eating locally, eating like what the importance of your gut, eating the foods that you are from the ground beneath you. The coffee is not really manufactured here in SA. So our guts, I mean, this one's from Uganda, still in Africa, still close, still organic, still not sprayed with pesticides, but we've made sure that this particular coffee or the chaga works hand in hand with the gut, so allowing that you don't get that indigestion with drinking black coffee and maybe not eating for the day. So that's
Yeah.
a lot of the
All
time.
thought out.
So it's So I mean, like I say, I mean, we joke about like drinking an instant coffee that's low quality, but you might get the caffeine benefits. Well, I mean, but you gotta look out at the mold that might be forming on the bean itself, right? So this is why you don't want to be spraying it with pesticides, and a lot of coffee beans do, because animals, it's a huge stimulant for all organisms. Organisms will come in there and pesticides and stuff and rid the lands, but if you're organically treating these coffees and you're not spraying with pesticides, your gut has a completely different reaction. So it's like, you might be thinking, oof, that coffee's giving me mental energy, but fuck, I'm like, almost feeling like dull.
Crap,
You're like, so that I mean, if you'll drink this and you'll see how you feel the first coffee in the morning. It almost like allows that energy to like prolong, you know, and that feeling that you don't have to eat for now like 2-3 hours.
Or you don't need another cup of coffee.
Or you don't need another cup
in a couple hours.
So I mean, in essence, you're not fasting in the sense of eliminating foods from your body, but you're eliminating calories, which is an energy model, which you're trying to get glucose out. And a lot of times people are like, well, this coffee will be so nice with some milk and sugar. But I know that you'll be getting you'll be getting the benefits, long-term benefits of like using lion's mane, which it's not something you're gonna feel like instantly. Like a magic mushroom would maybe make you like, whoa, like it's in your head. This stuff is like, it's in your body, and it's almost like it's not noticeable at all.
Long-term repair.
But when you start saying like, yo, like I'm a little bit sharper with like focus.
All of a sudden you start noticing.
You start pulling out things at the bank and you're like, oh, okay, like,
Responses are faster, just in general.
So it's a like I said, it's been 2 years of us just going back and forth saying, do you notice it? Do you feel it?
Trying different mushrooms and combinations. Like how have you felt the past week or so? And it's like, you know, this is working, that's not working.
It's nice because these days I always say that products with a lot of information, a lot of things for people to learn, can be marketed a lot better. Like 10 years ago, you just had a flashy picture or a flashy video and people bought. Like Instagram was a quick sale, you know, but now it's like, how much information can you give them to convince them that this isn't a quick buy? You know what I mean? People need like that 10 times seeing your ad and then going to your site and reading that information to trust the product. People need a lot more trust. And when you have that information, it's a lot easier to get people to trust your brand, you know? So, and you guys have a lot of real good information to feed people, which is...
Well, you're not just giving people coffee. Like if I decided I wanted to create a coffee brand, I would just be like, okay, well, how are we going to win? Okay, it's got to just taste better than everybody else's fucking coffee.
Yeah,
but you just shat
totally
all over
different.
my, like, you're really benefiting people's lives here. Like that's just going the extra step. So well done. You're really taking it to where I think the pinnacle of
it
where
needs
coffee
to
could
go.
Yeah.
I think caffeine is a nootropic. So
Yeah.
you could sell this as a nootropic. Like it
It's
is
a nootropic coffee,
it has nothing else except nootropics, which is like, it's such a cool like marketing.
Thank you.
And it tastes great.
And it tastes fantastic.
So
Like, how much are you getting like the ratios that you would normally need of those things and still getting it to taste like that?
100%. Like I said, we work.
This was a process.
That's hectic.
We
'cause
sat with
there's
them
no
for a while. And we were like,
aftertaste.
well, because I mean,
Dev did
to walk into the
great
shop,
work.
we're still working on final retail cost, but you'd be looking at $260 a bag, right? Which in essence, people are like, I ain't paying $250 for a coffee because.
Then they're also cancelling out buying drops, buying this, buying that.
Because. But if you look at it, right, what the effort we put in, like I say, put organic coffee. It seems like a small change in the common idea of, okay, well, I'm not gonna have organic, I'll just have regular. But it truly is. It's such a difference. And to farm organic coffee is a more expensive process. So it's cost us just to have organic coffee. And then the mushrooms that we've added, we have to put like. There's no point speaking about the benefits of it and you're not getting it.
Not getting the right.
We're putting in micro amounts. So we've put in like lion's mane, like a nice dosage, 500 milligrams, which is a daily, almost just short of your daily like limit that you would want of lion's mane. The same with chaga and cordyceps. You can eat that in abundance. So those mushrooms you can have, and all these mushrooms, really the mycelium family is, you can have this in abundance and you're not going to feel. It's like comparing CBD and THC. That makes sense. THC is a psychoactive ingredient. CBD is more of the neuro benefits that like you feel internally and you don't really notice it. Like same with like psychedelics and the mycelium family, which is like you don't notice it, the psychoactive responses in your body. So yeah, I mean,
Well, you got the combos spot on because it tastes.
I don't
great.
think you'll ever have to justify your price because you know those little pods for the Nestle machine.
Sure.
I mean, those are like 130 rand, and those taste like crap. Well, in my personal, I don't like
Joss
them.
is never getting
I bought
sponsored.
the machine. I don't want to get sponsored. I don't want to be sponsored.
When I was 15, I thought they tasted good.
Nestle was on the bubble of sponsoring this podcast.
They were right there.
Let's just hit a U-turn.
Hey, cancel that email.
Honest.
He's just about to kick in. He's like,
On behalf of the Hoopla boys, Nestle, good folks in Nestle, they love you guys. And they're just trying to hype us up. They're just trying to make us look good on camera. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like in terms of a price point, I don't think you'll ever have to justify it for what you're getting. You know, the values based also, and people want to actually put that in their body, you know, and see the benefit.
yeah, it's not just a coffee.
It's also interesting, like you guys come from sports background, and as much as we talk about sports being like on the verge of finding new things, especially I think rugby players, they tend to be very boxed in, like this is the supplement stack you take. You do this, you bulk, you eat that.
I was one of them, bro. Like,
Yeah.
If you know rugby, I was a loose head prop, which is supposed to be like the heaviest, biggest guy on the field. That's in the front of the scrum. So since leaving rugby, I've like slowly had to like shed like weight, you know. It's like because eating 5-6 meals a day to like maintain this high intense lifestyle. In my mind, that's what I thought. Like now eating 1-2 meals a day.
Yeah.
Very changed and dynamic, but and a lot of people are like, well, I can't do that from a rugby player. But the thing is, like, you can. I do believe. I think if you really look at the different way of consumption and look at it like, okay, what does your body really need? You know, and that So like I say, it's the trying to get back into sports. It's I think it'll be a difficult task, but we're fortunate. We're fortunate because we've been in there, so we can relate. You know, so if I had to put on rugby boots now again, I would struggle, and I know that, and it would be like, my body has to adjust to this. You know, physical.
And I'll just address something that you said, bro. Like you're absolutely right. Rugby players and a lot of athletes, but it just seems like it's happening slower with rugby.
Yeah.
Just the general shifting of athletes' mindsets. You get what I'm saying? I mean, just on all levels, it's athletes' mindsets seem like they are shifting much faster to even becoming a brand and a business while you're playing, just from that level specifically, and then on to just management of the body and of the brain and of
like very
of
rare when someone says like I smoke weed and I fight UFC. You know what I mean? It's like only just happening, and there's like 3 people doing it.
Sure.
But like when they do make that change, how big are they noticed? You know what I mean? Like everyone notices that person who was like, no, like I smoke and I fucking trade every day. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And rugby players, you don't see anyone breaking the norm.
Like
it's very rare.
Yeah, and I mean, look, these are the types of conversations we had right at the beginning of our friendship, because we also just want to understand why is the thinking the way it is, and how has there been no shift for so long?
Yeah.
When we have all these things available to us that allow each and every one of us to get information and learn something new. It seemed to me, playing a sport that I absolutely loved, the thinking was prescribed. You get what I'm saying? Like it was given to you, and this is how you had to think.
This is how you become the best.
Yeah.
And like if you don't do that, you're not going to be the best.
You have to walk in this way. You have to talk in this way. All our interviews sound the same from our athletes.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You turn the TV off and the picture off. It could be anyone.
Could be anyone.
Speaking
at any
after
time for the last 20 years.
It is.
No.
It could be anyone. So it's that type of thing, and I don't know if it's a athlete thing across the board, because you'll find athletes as they like transition out of playing sports, they have so many different interests, but those interests have been nurtured and sort of matured over the playing career, that by the time it's time to transition, they can start maybe understanding which direction to go.
But just for example, in terms of sport, I mean, rugby players or just people that do, probably not professional, won't even go that far, but even amateur level, but at a higher level, they'll like dose up on pre-workout to go play. That's like unclear energy. You buzzed out of your mind. Whereas if you had something that's clear energy and that's a nootropic, then you're having more fun. But they don't have that mind. Well, not, I'll say that, it's very broad, but people don't tend to have that mindset where something like this, if you're using it as a supplement, for example, and you take that interest about how to curate my body and how to care for my body, you're actually going to get more out in the long run, which is just interesting from a physical aspect, why there's not more sportsmen doing that. taking the small things that give me that small little edge. While I'm on the field, I'm clearer, I'm this, I'm that. Why am I not doing the small things, the recovery?
And progressing, because like with this, as you said, like the long-term effect, you're slowly progressing. It's like just dumping pre-workout in your body every time. You go back to that square one after the game, you know what I mean? There's no like progression, there's no calculated thoughts. You got 1,000 thoughts in your head and you impulsively do the latest one.
I can speak about pre-workouts also, I mean. And
before I let you go though, I just want to say, we don't know that there aren't athletes that are doing it.
No,
But
it's not as wide. That's
it's just not as it's not spoken about as much as you would hope that it is. But there's guys like, I mean, going abroad, like Brady, for example, Tom Brady, his regimen, the TB12 method is
reversing backwards, you know.
See if you can find that book or like any excerpts from the TB12 method and see what this guy does to his body. And guys like LeBron, you know what I mean? It's out there, they're doing it, but you're right, you're absolutely right. It's not people aren't vocal about these other little things and other little avenues.
It's not pop culture and mainstream yet.
So obviously in the States it's a bit different. They're on the leading edge of everything all the time. But here it's not really spoken about, and that could give them that next level. That could give them that small edge that gets them that extra place, or gets them in the starting lineup. It's that small thing that they could choose to do. And like it's interesting that people and they obviously don't have as much awareness about it, and that's maybe why they don't do it. But you would think if your whole business, your income is your body, it's your physicality. Surely you were trying to optimize that as best you could,
But the thing is, like, if you are like in South Africa, like the mindset is like you said, like you come in and you've been told this is how you become the best, and if you go and try something else and you're playing shitter than everyone, then you only have you to blame because you've been given this blueprint. So here you don't want to be that one and be like, fuck, I took the mushrooms and I played a shit game. Now I'm the guy who, you know what I mean? I took the 4 and now I have to pay for it. So
I was told this is going to give you energy. I'm like, I got it. Bro.
Exactly. And now if you don't do that and you play a shit game, everyone else is going to pass you. You know what I mean?
But I mean, look. So the pre-workouts. I mean, I've been taking those since like 16. And I look back and I'm like,
what you talking about?
I'm like, bro, literally, I was like, damn, bro, why did I take those things back in the day, bro? Like that thing was not helping me. But in my mind, I was like, well, it says on the front of the label, massive pump, skin tearing pumps. So you like, bro, I believe it. You know what I mean? It's like that's how we shop these days. We go, ooh, a low carb, and we grab it. And then now, but I mean, like when you, so when you really dissect individual ingredients, and you're like, okay, I see commonalities here, like you say, skin tearing pumps, and it's like, okay, there's a lot of nitric oxide, for example. So what's causing that? It's just, you'll see this arginine, citrulline malate, so all those things, and you start to like, why do they say that? And you really try to dissect what individual ingredients. And Ice Duke, we used to make our own pre-workouts. We'd have about like 4 bottles of just like raw ingredients, and we're like, okay, let's just try these things. A little beta alanine, citrulline malate, let's just play around with this. And I mean, that's the only way sometimes to practice things and experience them. And I mean, looking back, I'm like, okay, I had to go and learn all these different pre-workouts to be like, this one worked, that one didn't. What worked in there, and you can fine tune it, and literally you can cancel out tins of ingredients that don't actually work for your body. You know what I mean? Fillers. The artificial sweeteners, like that shit should be out of any pre-workout in my mind. But it's one of those things. It's like, well, it kind of tells you you're having something sweet, but it doesn't. You know what I mean? So
a lot of it is in your head. Is what I've realized.
I mean, we can't deny that.
It's more of the motion.
So
like it's going in, and now you have to go gym.
The power of the placebo.
You get the tingles from the niacin, and you think the pre-workout's working. You know what I mean?
Hey, off topic. I want to hear about Mr. Voiceover. I want to hear that. You spend time behind a microphone. I spend a fair amount of time behind a microphone. Show me what you got. Let's just hear a bit about that. How'd you get involved in that? That's something I know nothing about.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was another cool little journey. But that one just stemmed from people, honestly, just saying, hey, you should do this. Like throughout, I say, from the time I got a deep voice, like, hey, you should do like radio, or you should do voiceovers. And I didn't know what that really entailed.
The balls dropped and suddenly had the job offers. They were waiting.
As you had 6
years. It was years. And then I worked with his brother Jason McCall, and he was really the first one, right, to like push me, like gave me contacts to like East Coast radio. He was like, dude, just go do a voiceover. And I think that's what really gave me a little bit of comfort. But yeah, it was a lot of people who pushed me, man, just go do it. And I did my first one, did like a little demo read, got called for my first job. It was nice. And then at the 13th floor now, again, like I was like so shy. I wouldn't really just do it in that capacity. And Sam, one of the directors, was like, dude, just do it. We need a new video for our company. Can you just do it?
So it was never you. It was never like, I want to do voiceover. But it was people around you that were
people
pushing
around
you
me
to
like,
do it.
they're like, why aren't you doing it?
Weird. Because you're like, what do you mean I must talk?
Like, why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you doing voiceovers? And then even for like when it turned into, man, the first video like thingy I did was semi, what do you call it? Presenter-ish, was at Grace at church. Literally, again, lady from church was like, why don't you do the video announcements? Like you just go speak and like you presentable. I'm like, what do you, I don't understand. They're like, just go speak, like you'll be decent at it. I was like, okay, give it a bash. And
I can speak English.
I've got this.
You guys are professionals. And Sam did the same thing at work. She's like, they were looking for someone to be in the Nivea thing. We're searching for influencers. And Sam was like, dummy, why don't you do it? And she probably called me a palooka or a wombat. That's the words she liked to use. Why won't you do it, you wombat, and just be in this Nivea thing? And I did it, and then,
Yeah, I can see your skins.
Rest of the history. The shower commercial, everything, brother. He was ready, bro. He was ready for that.
We dropped Nestle, and now he's going for Nivea. He's like, fucking need all that spots.
You're making me go.
what are you guys doing here? I thought, let's get you guys paid.
Sorry, Nestle.
So your coffee's from Uganda, but it seems that
Sir
you
loves
more.
your coffee.
Huh? No.
Have you been drinking? Are you finished? Okay.
But you seem to be more international than the coffee. So
100%.
yeah, tell us about that, because you went off on some countries just on a ramble there.
Yeah, dude. So I mean,
How did it happen? I want to know, because those aren't easy to.
It's
not easy to just disappear out of here.
It's not an everyday thing. It's not an everything. Dude, blessed. My mom got an opportunity. She got a job. Which wasn't really. I mean, she worked for it. She got a chance to travel to Singapore for a new position when I was 13, and I ended up doing all my high school that side, which was cool. And then
Did you like Singapore? I've been
Singapore's
there once.
amazing.
It's crazy, bro.
Singapore is amazing. Singapore is one of the best places I've ever been to in my life.
Yeah.
My life, like literally, it's.
Yeah.
You step out the airport and you're literally stepping in to what feels like the future, especially as a 13-year-old from the Eastern Cape.
You guys are running water
from King Williamstown.
The toilet's flush, mom.
Shout out to King Williamstown. Hey, due respect, that's a great little town. Shout out to King Williamstown and Dell College.
Oh yeah.
Still an old day in at heart. So I did my high school then. It was incredible here. It's literally everything you see feels like it's futuristic. Just the way the country works is great. It's aspirational. I think it's what we all want to live like.
How did you feel coming back here after there? Because I studied in Oz.
No.
Coming back here,
I'll keep this short.
I hated it.
I'll keep this short. You got to understand the route that I took to come back to SA. So Singapore, then to the States, and then in Australia long enough for a cup of coffee, and then Cameroon for close to a year. And my mom was living in Cameroon at that time. Her job had taken her there. So it's Cameroon before South Africa, before coming back home.
Fantastic. Good transition. So now I know what to do next time.
Back up.
We fell in love with Cameroon, dude. We fell in love with that part of our amazing continent. It's a great place. It's a great place. But it is different to SA. And when you come home, dude, you appreciate coming home.
Things work here.
You appreciate coming home. But it's
Okay.
like I'm amongst my people all the time.
Yeah.
People understand what it's like being South African. Even the frustrations we go through, and then all the cool stuff that we get to do. You know what I mean? Like it's a nice
You need
balance.
that relatability.
Singapore's not that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like hardly frustrations.
Yeah, no one got it.
You know what I mean? The States is different. I don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Like that's another world.
No, but everyone, like, what I realized is everyone had their problems. Like, in Oz, they were complaining about where their tax money is going. And I was like, you literally walk outside and you do this, and there's a bus that stops you, and you can go wherever you want for like $2. And now they complaining about, like, they're sitting at this table, a family, they're complaining about where their tax money is going. I'm like, you guys don't know what's going on. But then here we complain, and then there's even worse. So like everyone has their like ups and downs. You just got to realize, like, we have running water, we have a roof over our head, we're better off than 90% of the world. Like, just enjoy it.
So these things that I think Jones will tell you about, the conversations that we had, Matt, about like just wanting to do something for us as a country and as a town, as a city, right? And
change the game.
Jones, what was it, bro? It was about like just figuring it out in where we're from, and then helping and just putting other people on from where we're from.
100%, man. I mean, look, Duke's had a wealth of perspective from different countries, and funny enough, it's unconsciously influenced my life, So Eastern medicine, Eastern medicine for me, if I didn't understand that, I wouldn't probably have circled back to Western medicine and try to divulge this whole idea of, well, Eastern medicine is much like you can heal it's the breathing, it's the meditation, it's the yoga, it's the movement, it's a different kind of healing, whereas the Western medicine is through medicine, exogenous
quick
medicine. Quick fix. Well, yeah, exactly. So, but they both work in symmetry, you
got to know where to use the one.
You can have great Western medicine health, and be flipping the most qualified doctor, but if you don't tap into to things that are like movement and breathing and meditation, you don't have that balance. So we both on the same page and the same vision, and we wanna really, like you say, there's not much of this in SA right now. It's all over in different countries if you look for it, but it's not here yet. But it's had such an impact on our lives. Yeah. We wanna create that vision and let it ripple across obviously the country. And right now we focus on our community.
Yeah.
So we're starting here in Umhlanga, growing from KZN. We want to make an impact here first, and bring, it's like what you guys are doing. You bring people on the show to speak and uplift themselves. So, it's the universe delivers. When you're doing the right thing. It
was a no-brainer for us to come on here because we recognize that.
Yeah, I was like,
we're like, but these guys are cool. But these guys are trying to make it happen.
That's our turn.
I'm glad you feel that way about us because we don't feel that way about each other.
These guys.
But it is exactly what we did as well. We always look at, like, you watch someone in the States and there's about 50 million podcasts there, and you're like, oh fuck, if I want to start a podcast, I got to go to the States. And we were like, no one's doing it where we are. Why don't we just do it? Like, it's not here. You don't have to be there to do it. You can do it.
And also, like, our whole idea behind this is there's so many people doing stuff around us, like doing big things, and it might not seem big to like we don't want to get your Gary V's and your this and your that. You know what I mean? We want to get the people who are like, how many people work here in 8 to 5 that hate their jobs right now? And everyone goes out, has a drink, and they talk about these ideas. And no one sees how easy it is when there's a guy right next door they never knew about who actually just wanted to start a coffee brand, and now it's in every store in South Africa. You know what I mean? And no one sees that, or wanted to distribute shoes like Trap, or like wanted to do this, or like wanted to do that. And they just take that first step and no one sees it. And this was that way for people to just see that we are taking that first step. It doesn't have to be the 10th step, you know?
Yeah,
it just has to be the first. And some people just need to see that first step being taken and see that. Bro, I mean, how easy would it be? Let's say you work as an assistant or a receptionist or whatever, and you're earning your 10, 12 a month, right? How easy would it be to go knock on people's doors with your coffee brand and make 10 to 12 a month? You know what I mean? It would be a lot less work and a lot less hours, you know what I mean? And people don't see that.
Yeah.
You just have to just...
And we don't look down at all on the making 10 to 12 a month.
Oh no, but I'm not saying you do.
I'm not saying you do. Sorry, yeah.
People that want
exactly. Yeah,
no, you can enjoy every part of your life.
Yeah,
like, you can work as someone cleaning the streets and you're happy. But 100%. I'm saying there are people out there that resent their lives, that are stuck in these places that they don't want to be, and they see all these people doing huge things and it seems unattainable. But little do they know there's people that haven't yet got to those huge places that are still doing what they wish they could be doing and how easy it could be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we're living proof. I mean, this hasn't even launched officially until we get the first batch. But from that first batch, we're still in the messy middle, you know? We've got to get the distribution right. We've got to get logistics.
But it's exciting,
Yeah, we know we
and it's yours.
As ours, right? I mean,
that's important.
And I think that's important. Yeah, that's the thing. We said the vision was always going to be greater than the hurdles that we're going to face. So at the end of the day, when it's tough and adversity hits and we're like, well, we've lost money and we've been bleeding cash, like this pandemic has exposed us to, we still hold faith that what we're doing is going to serve more than ourselves. Right? This is whether you pick this up and you say it doesn't work for me, or I'm actually going to research a little bit more. You're sending someone that you might not even meet in your life down a path that they're gonna
could benefit them.
Yeah, could benefit, and that in essence is the vision. The vision always is to how do we uplift and how do we serve more than
That's
ourselves.
the way to do it.
Man.
Man.
That's the only way you really succeed.
Value.
I'm glad you went there, Jones. I actually want to ask, but to some of the info behind the name Recon, just in case
Sure.
some folks don't know. But before you do that, I actually wanted to point out what you said about you saw people around you doing things, and that's very natural because that's kind of what it was like for us. But there's also the seeing people around you do big things, and it's not for you. You get what I'm saying? Like there's people are making business deals or like getting into, for example,
But that's not your passion.
for example, oil. You know what I mean? Or getting into selling commodities or this or that, and they're making it happen. But you understand that that's maybe not your path or your. But at the end of the day, it's young people doing whatever it is that they're doing, and the more important part of it is understanding that and making sure that you're supporting that economy as you go. So if it is our friend that's out there doing mining, for example, again, random example, it's cool to have that there because these are all people same age coming up, essentially creating an economy within their city or town and supporting and putting each other on. If that's not something that you have, let someone else do it. If not something that you're gonna do anyway. And
but that's exactly like we have friends that they love their jobs. It's not to say that that's any less important than anything else.
100%.
It's just like, I mean, we have friends that love being an accountant, love being a quantity surveyor. Like that's their dream. And to see that passion is just as motivating to see them drive that as it is someone starting a business around something I also don't have any interest in. It's all just as exciting. But finding that passion and being stuck in something that isn't your passion, often society makes things like taking that first step seem scary. And no one understands. You can just save $2,000 a month for a year, have your 24 grand and start that business. You can do it. It is possible. It just takes that little bit, and you don't have to be stuck in that spot anymore, wishing or wanting or whatever. And 90% of people are working jobs they don't enjoy. It is a fact.
But
they're just doing it to support their...
Because at the same time, opportunity is scarce now. You know how difficult it is out in the real world. You want opportunity. It is scarce. And so I'm just going to take this thing, Mike, because
Take
you've
it
fucking
away.
seen it. Oh, I'm joking.
Take it away, boy.
But so anybody, like we always say, you got to do what you love. You got to do what you're passionate about. But people who aren't doing that, they mustn't feel like they're shunned upon. Because people who do work a 9 to 5 that don't like it but are doing it because they know opportunity is scarce and they're working towards their bigger vision, that's fucking commendable.
That's the best part.
That's still as commendable as starting your own goal. I think that's important.
and we all get into a position where we just need a push.
Yeah.
You just need a push. You need someone to back you and say,
And this is that push, hopefully.
I believe
like
in
I want
you.
it to be.
Someone close, right? It could be a boss, someone you're helping out with their health or whoever, and they say, we support what you do, and it's a nudge. It's like, okay, then you have to go get it and try make
changes
that
the
person
game.
proud.
Yeah.
Jonesy, Recon, bro.
Hit it with Recon.
How do we want to come across and actually reconnect? Reconnect with what?
Exactly. So there's so many ways we look at it. I mean, Recon can mean many things, and our slogan is reconnect, reconstruct, recondition. Because in many ways you look at it from a mind, body, spirit. Your body, you want to reconnect to the body, right? You want to actually be in a place where you are connected, and that's what the coffee for us also stands for in essence. But the bigger vision, like I say, for Recon and reconnecting is reconnecting with our people, and obviously now is the most urgent need because we've been faced with our gates are closed, we can't have tourism now.
Separation.
So our economy where we're from, in Shlanga, as you know, is hugely tourism based. Our beaches are closed, restaurants are operating out at certain hours now, so it's affecting so many people. And what we need to do is reconnect with the people, and how do we, right, when we go through these storms, how do we reconnect and support each other, and we create abundance internally. We don't rely on outside investors to come in and support us. We can support and sustain ourselves, and that's why we're pushing the message of support locally, and everyone is now. We're all aware of it. We're all trying to, and the brand is to establish that. And we want to say, when you think of Recon, you don't think of us, you think of the word reconnect, and it's a play on words to think, okay, how do we reconnect? What does it mean to you, reconnecting? What is, in many ways, I thought reconnecting is getting out into nature, reconnecting with the planet, reconnecting with the ground beneath ourselves, and So that's. I mean, Duke, you'll
I love
touch
it.
on more
That's
detail.
really good.
And
I
it
really
was
like that.
it was 100% what Matt just said, and it was even adding on to that, like reconnecting and just finding just parts of yourself, like literally just being you, reconnect with who you are supposed to be, whatever that is, and not what you've been, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, what you've been led to believe.
Yeah, it's exactly your guys' story, like what we've talked about the whole time. Like,
man.
yeah,
I mean,
sport might not have been you,
Sure.
and it might be part of you, but it's not the whole you, and that's exactly your guys' whole story. Is
Great way to wrap it up. Or sum that up.
Okay, so where can people find the coffee on social media at least? Are you on social media?
Recon Health.
At Recon Health. Yeah.
Can people purchase it personally through you?
Absolutely.
Have you got a bag here for me when you leave?
There's a bag right there. So we ran a small trial batch just to launch with the market. Obviously, we're not going to make a whole batch of a product, and the closest, like we say, our communities first. So we're keeping it local. We've done runs and we've done markets that we've been so fortunate to work with, hand in hand with the Reset girls, Gabby and Mel.
That's right. They're on the show.
They're on the show. So, I mean, they've supported us with the runs in the morning and the markets that they've got us involved in.
You guys have a very good group. All I can say is, like, every time I talk to those guys or talk to everyone around them, it's always mad support. Like, it's very rare to find such a big group, so diverse and yet so like
interconnected,
synergized. Like everyone's just working together to push each other, and it's effortless. It looks effortless from the outside, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we love the people we get to interact with and call our friends, which is probably the coolest part about it, right? It's literally they're our friends. We support them. They support us to the nth degree, man. They really just do show us a lot of love, and we love seeing them prosper as well.
That's the best part.
What they do.
Yes, I mean, that's what I said. We made these first batch for the introduction launches to get it out, to trial it with people. We've had many of our friends that have given us feedback, and it's all been green light for us. So we appreciate you guys enjoying the coffee. So
it is.
Yeah, I mean, we got our first batch coming, and it's going to go straight into stores. I won't confirm exactly the locations, but Spars and Pick and Pays have jumped on board with us. And
thank goodness, because that's the closest shop.
we're also fortunate because we involved Bella's Arm Schlanger, both of us, and we've opened up our own cafe there at the bottom. So when you're walking on the prom, you'll see.
Oh wow, fantastic!
Man, you gotta check that. I love Durban sign. That's where we're at. That's
we didn't even talk about the shop.
The shop. Know where to find them.
We'll have you on at another episode when you've done more, and
when you made it. Guys are selling 1,000 coffees a day out of there, and we made it.
No, listen, guys, we only accept the minimum 6-month subscription to our coffee.
We'll have it at your door.
We'll have it at your door, man.
But your guys' whole thing, man, is just so inspiring too. Like I have to bring it up again. Honestly, like the idea and the execution was so cool to watch. How you brought the podcast together.
Yeah, we've been watching since inception. You know.
Yeah.
And so
I appreciate it. You know, I spent a lot of time putting these lights up before.
Appreciate you, boy.
No, these guys, the credit, don't even look at the credit should go to these guys. And this guy right here.
But why Hoopla, by the way? I know you mentioned, I think it was the first episode.
Okay, let me tell you.
Because I know what Hoopla means, so I'm just like...
Okay, so the idea was this initially, right? There's supposed to be a Perspex thing over this, and we actually got the basketball hoop and everything.
Yeah, nice.
And the idea was, this how it came about. It's so random, but I was like, there needs to be something interactive, right, during the shot. So like before we meet people, we were like
free throws.
Yeah. Okay, so it's like this. Before we meet people, we really got to do a bit of...
We're still hoping for a game of FIFA, you know?
Yeah, okay, so same thing.
Sure.
We do a bit of research on people, and we find a question that's pretty touch and go.
Right.
Like it's
don't wanna
edgy.
answer.
Like they don't really want to answer it, you know? And they get a shot at the basketball hoop. And if they get it, they don't have to answer. But if they miss, they have to answer.
Everything on the line.
Yeah. So
we got the buzzer beater button there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was the idea, and the Perspex was like fucking $3,000 we got quotes. I was like, we'll pass on that for a bit. I mean, look at what we had to put money in. So we're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Is it really? We got
I've already spent $50,000.
Priorities.
No,
priorities were important. The basketball hoop can wait. Please bring that. Do not shelve that idea.
Oh no,
it
we
will
got the
happen.
hoop waiting. We were check this little initial back sound against
Oh,
the
that's so
wall there.
funny. I love it.
But that was the idea. I was like, it needs to be interactive. It can't just be talking like every other show. So like initially it was like everyone just during the show you just fucking toss balls at it and the score goes up on the screen.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We've got to
Yeah.
have something to work towards.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. The next iteration of the show.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Keep people tuned
Gotta
in.
keep watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, our name really just came
Thank
out
you
of
for
that.
the smoke blowing. I appreciate it.
Back at you, boys.
I just want to come back to this lovely estate. Just want to be invited again.
You guys must actually come experience one of the best restaurants you'll ever eat at
In Durban. Like
yeah.
in fucking Durban. I'm
Yeah,
it's
no, the
amazing.
food is fucked.
What we got?
Ray's Kitchen.
Oh, bro, I heard of a Ray's Kitchen, man. I need,
Oh
I
my
need,
God.
I need to
one?
start stalling
Bro,
now.
the
Yeah, it's just-
burgers
yeah.
are
The
like...
burgers were made in heaven, sent here. Oh my god.
Joss only
Overnight.
Oh yeah.
Joss eats that.
Press delivery.
All pizza pies from Roman. So like,
Yeah, he doesn't really have a say.
don't judge his taste buds.
Yeah.
When he's not fasting.
You know what?
All this whole talk, at least she's speaking to someone who needs it.
We see Joss in the next few episodes.
Yeah.
Just shit.
What have you been doing? I've just been drinking coffee.
It's operating.
30 songs out. He's like, I've never experienced this.
Drops an EP every day.
People, it's the mushrooms.
You'll never understand the mushrooms.
All right. Well, thank you guys
Yeah,
so much
appreciate
you
for
guys
coming
coming
through
on.
today.
Man.
You were late.
What an
Yeah,
it's okay.
experience.
It
It
was
was
worth
an
it.
experience.
When you're
guys
later
won,
than
eh?
Joss, then you fucking know something's a
Then-
serious problem here. When you're later than him.
Yeah, you guys, we need a plaque. We need a plaque that goes up for like the longest episodes. You guys have the gold plaque now.
Yeah,
Wow.
Most
Yeah.
interesting.
I don't know if it is.
Yeah, it goes up on the wall, and it just someone needs to beat it next time.
Yeah.
We came
Push
to
it
chat,
out.
guys.
Hey,
What do you
I
mean?
love it.
We're meaning to hang out, you know?
Yeah, we're
meaning
meaning
to
to hang out.
Yeah,
Sweet
we'll
guys,
put
yeah.
their social media handles in the description below.
We'll drop it below.
Hopefully.
Okay,
Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate
sweet
it.
guys.